Thanks so much for joining us today. We would love to know how God is using this ministry to touch your life. Please take a moment to send your story to marathonchurch.org/mystory. Also, if you would like to support this ministry financially, you can do so by visiting marathonchurch.org and choosing the giving option that works best for you. Thanks again for joining us, and we hope you enjoy today's message.
Well, are y'all happy? Everybody happy? Well, I'm here to make sure you are, and hopefully we'll find out if you are or not. Well, you know how you qualify happy, we'll find out as we get into that. I did something this week. How many have tomato plants? Let's just talk about something, but it has nothing to do with anything. All right, tomato plants. Anybody raising tomatoes out there? Okay, I want you to tell me how high they're going to be whenever they get to their whatever it is they do. Okay. All right, your tomato plant's this high. Raise your hand if it's this high. Okay, this high. This high. Keep coming. Nobody? Come right here. Right here. I have tomato plants this high because I have pasture tomato plants. And they're spiritual. Okay? Not really. You know what I decided to do? How many of you have to put, the tomato stakes, you know what I'm talking about? That is a mess every year to figure out if they're going to work or not, okay? So mine's got about this big. I put some spiritual fertilizer on them, prayed over them, and they got real big. So about right there. So I decided I was going to make some Indostructo, y'all ready? Indostructo tomato stakes out of PVC pipe. And you say, you got to be crazy. Let me show you what crazy looks like. Go right here. That's crazy. Now, I'll leave that up for just a second. That right there, do you see the work that went on with that? And I thought this is going to be easy. You can actually climb on those things, okay? They're not going anywhere, but I'm happy because I've only done 4, and I got to do 4 more. And so it's going to be fun. But this is part of my let's say this. It's part of my enjoyment to create things and to build things. One of the things that we're going to talk about is the difference between what your enjoyment is and what your happy is. And those two things are different. Just like giving and just like generosity, those two things are different. So we're going to find out what the difference is between what I enjoy and what makes me happy. Because when you mingle those two, it doesn't work too well. So we've been talking, if you're just coming in, we've been talking about what Mama June taught me. Mama June was my mom. About 20 years ago, she went to heaven. And so I remember some things she taught me. And I said, I think I'm going to tell them, I'm going to teach you what she taught me. Because it really changed everything that I do. The next one will be, I wish I had listened. Okay? Because Mama, it's funny, you're a teenager, and we got some kids in here. Mom and Daddy don't know everything. That's what you think right now. Okay? And you'll find out that they probably did know something later on in life. And so that's kind of what happened to me. I figured out that Mom and Daddy kind of knew something. So she was telling me how to set my life up, how to be, watch this, happy. She said, this is how it works. This is how it's going to be happy. And it comes down to order. And I'm going to write this on here. This is going to be good. We're going to do some words today. I've been practicing. My spelling is better. Thank you. I'm not sure about the handwriting. They say that... we'll do this. They say that smart people can't write. Okay. All right. And those that want to be smart. Okay. Well, let's do this first. Let me do a couple of things. But we'll do some words as we go through. But I'm going to tell you what my mother told me and taught me. This is something that you probably don't know because you have to be taught this. This is not a natural occurring event that happens when it comes to generosity and when it comes to giving. Those two things are different. My mother taught me that. Those two things are different because generosity is set up on an order and giving is not. It's whatever will be, will be. And so my mother said, if you want to be happy, then you got to set up the order. It's got to be the right thing. And so I've been trying to, communicate to you what was going to happen. One of the things you need to know, I'm just trying to teach you something. I'm not trying to get anything from you. Because this isn't a church thing. This is not a church thing. This is a life thing. Because what all of you are going to try to do is try to find happy. All of you are trying to find happy. You're trying to, whatever it may be for you to find happy, you're looking for it. And I don't know if it's happened. How many of you plan to be happy? How many of you plan on being happy? Raise your hand. Okay, you ready? Good? Don't you hate when I do this? So what's your plan? You just kind of like, I'm just going to I'll just see what happens tomorrow, and we're going to see if we're happy tomorrow. Happy, here's what the difference is. Happy is planned. You can't just walk through life and expect happy to happen because you don't live in heaven. So happy is planned out. Most of you don't like a plan. You don't want to deal with a plan. Well, I'll tell you this, then you're in a mess. Because you can't go through life without some kind of order. And what we try to do, what my mother did, was try to tell me the order in which the Bible works. Is that not what the order we want? Is that what we're here for? Is so we can figure out, how the order is, how it works in the Bible. Because what you're going to do is you're going to try to find your happy in a different place than where the Bible said you should be going. And you're going to try to find happy with enjoyment, and that will not work. Over and over again, we try this, over and over again. A couple of things. Let me write this word up. I'm doing better. Let me flip it around. Of course, it wouldn't matter either way for y'all because you wouldn't have seen it anyway. You picked that up, didn't you? Okay. I'm working on that. Here's what happens, and we got to get away from this part, okay? Forgive me, my nose. Everything's crazy today. I don't know. It must be I'm working on the tomato plants. Okay. All right, here's the other word. This is kind of what happens. It's called drift. You can see it up there. Is it crooked? There we go. We're going to drift. Okay. All right. Most of you do this. Let me just get this ready. Most of you do this. This is how it works for you. Most of you this is how you live life. I'm going to drift into happy. Maybe I'll bump into it at the beach down there. I can't tell how many times my mother said that we went on vacation, and she said, this trip was supposed to be enjoyable, and we brought the boys. Anybody relate on that one? So if you're looking for, watch this, if you're looking for happy on a trip, you might be disappointed. That's more of an enjoyment. Hopefully you can enjoy that kind of thing. So you're going to be looking for happy. Most of you are going to try to drift into it. You're not going to drift into happy. You're not going to bump into happy. Listen, one thing you need to know down here on earth, remember we're still here, right? Most of you are still here. He's trying to tell us how to live here, okay? So you're not going to drift into anything good here. Everything that happens here that is good is on purpose. It is not drifted into. Listen, is it funny? Let me just give you an example just looking out in my garden, okay? I don't have to plant weeds. Do you know what I'm talking about? They just come up on their own all over the place. Tomatoes don't do that. They just don't go, boom, there we are. You know why? Because of sin and what happened here. Anything good that's going to happen in your life, you're going to have to plan for it. You're going to have to work at it. You're not going to drift into skinny, okay? You're not going to pass the donut place and woo, you're just not going to do that. It's going to have to be planned. So happy is planned. Has everybody got that? Okay, so don't mix up happy and enjoy. Those are the things my mother taught me. 2 things you're going to try. Let me help you real quick. This is already happening in this place. You ready? 2 things you're going to try. You're going to try relationships. You're going to say, that will make me happy. I'm going to find the one that completes me. You know what I love? You make a list of all these qualities of this person that you're going to marry. Have you done this yet? Some of you teenagers, y'all done this yet? You have all these qualities that got to be like this, and the first good-looking thing that walks in the door, that's the one. You don't even know nothing. They're going to complete me. Really? Relationships will work. Did your mom and daddy tell you that? They work. It's hard. So you have to realize that nobody completes you but God. So we're going to try relationships to make us happy, and you will be disappointed. That's just what it is. That's the way it works. You might have an enjoyment, but not a happy. The other thing we're going to try is we're going to try money. And the reason I say that is because Jesus said that's what you're going to try. You're going to try to spend your way into happy. The problem is there's never enough. It's kind of like this. Let's say you go on vacation, and a vacation is an enjoyment, not a happy. But here's what happens. You go on vacation, you enjoy, and you're hoping you're going to be happy for a week. You hope things are going to work out. And as soon as the trip's over, what happens? I'm sad. because you thought your trip was your happy, and it's not your happy. And if you mix those two together, you're never going to be happy, and eventually your enjoyment will not be enjoyable anymore because you mix the two. Happy waits on you when you leave. Happy waits on you when you get back. And joy is only when the ride, only on the ride. And when the ride's over, listen, you can't live on a cruise all the time, can you? Well, some people are wishing. When you have 3 and 4 children, you just want to go wherever we'll go. You know? Listen to this. My godkids in Florida. This is so bad, but this is what I'm talking about, because this is an enjoyment, not a happy. So my godkids in Florida told their dad. They live near Disney World, by the way. You're thinking, I wish I lived near Disney World. Well, listen, hold on a minute, Mickey Mouse. Listen very carefully. Before you get the ears on, listen very carefully. My godsons told their daddy, please don't take us back to Disney World. We're tired. Really? Because that's an enjoyment, that's not a happy. You'll get tired of cruise. You'll get tired of the beach. I enjoy it, but that's not my happy. And that's what my mama taught me. You got to figure out your happy, and I'll help you as we walk through this. But you're going to try relationships. You're going to try money. You're going to try those things. But we got to remember one thing. Happy has a plan. You don't drift into this. So I thought I'd let you hear from somebody else. I'll let you hear from David Cobb about how he's figured out happiness. Watch this.
My wife and I, we wanted to give tithing. We wanted to do our part. We would take money out of the account and we would set it aside and to give on Sunday. By Sunday, we were out of money, and a lot of times in the negative and trying to figure out if we could even have enough gas, much less anything else to get by for the week. We had heard many times about the online giving, and by taking that money and giving it from the start, from when we got paid, taking it out first, that made a big difference because we were able to get it in God's hands and get it where it needed to be. We began to pray about our financial situation and ask God to help us to make better decisions with what we were spending money on, of things that we needed versus things that we wanted, and making proper choices so that one day we would be in a position to help move the kingdom. So we started out with a number that we knew we could afford, that there's no doubt that it wouldn't be a problem, and started giving from there, and we've been trying to increase it $5 to $10 a month, and as time has gone on, we're slowly doing that, and it's getting easier and easier, and I feel like it's changed our financial situation. We've gone this whole year without being in the negative, without actually having money that has rolled over week by week, and we've been able to pay our bills and help others. I'd love the chance to challenge all couples to pray together for 60 to 90 days for God to change your financial situation. God give us the wisdom to make the right choices, to put us in a position to one day help move your kingdom and be in a position to help others to do your work. That right there will change your marriage and change your life and your financial situation. My name is David Cobb, and I challenge you to give.
Well, let's understand. Thank you, David. So let's talk about generosity versus giving real quick. Let's make sure we understand that. And I'm trying to set you up for life, not just for church. So this is not a church thing. This is a life thing, and this is what Mama taught me. So you got to remember this. Generosity is not random giving. For most of you, you're going to need a speech. You're going to need somebody to say, we need some help here, we need something there, we have to show a picture. So you need a speech. Now don't misunderstand, we'll take random giving. That's what most of you do, because most of your life, most of you are not set up for generosity. You're just set up, you can give where you can and give if you have it at the end or that kind of thing. Generous people don't do that. They've already calculated, they already premeditated, it's already decided. We know what we're going to do and who we're going to give to and how much we're going to give. Generous people live on percentages. This is the way it was in the Bible. This is how it's set up. Most of you never do that. You still look for happy by spending. You still look for happy at the beach or at this place. I love to play golf. I love to go to the beach. I love to do all those things. But that is not my happy. And I'll tell you what happy is for me and for you in just a minute. Let me read something to you. It's a t-shirt verse. You know you love when I say t-shirt verse. Most of you don't like the verse, but it makes sense. Now, if it's okay, I'm going to let you know that Jesus said it. Will that help the situation? Okay? Will you listen to what he said as we walk through this, and I'll explain it. Matthew 6:21. Matthew 6:21. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Where your treasure is, your heart will be there. What he's saying that every time you spend, and the reason we're talking about generosity and along with money and not just time, but here's what you got to know. Money is going to take energy, money is going to take time, and it's going to take you away from the things that you want to do. And that's what happens all the time with that. That's what you have to understand. But money and treasure, those two things and heart go together. So every time you spend something, your heart goes away a little bit with it. Whether it be a little heart here, a little, when I go to Waffle House or I go to, wherever it is you spend your money, he says there's a little bit of you that goes with it. He says, but it works both ways. The way you can change your heart is change where you send your money and where you spend your money. I'm trying to put my money and this is my life, not I'm just random giving. My life is I want to move the kingdom. You heard David just say that. I want to move the kingdom. I want to change other people's lives with my money. I want to invest my money where there's a return. You see what I'm saying? And so my happy comes from moving the kingdom. My happy is you. My happy is your kids and the children's department. And I'll tell you how happy and enjoyment collide for me in just a moment. But those are the things. The mistake you're going to make with money is you think it's all yours. That's going to be your mistake. That everything comes into me is mine to spend and mine to use. And so you'll consume most of it, and there's that cycle that goes around and round. I'm worried about my money, and then I spend more to get by my money because I got to find a happy. That's a false happy is when you spend, by the way. My mother told me that real quick. Many of you like the spending part. You don't really care for the things as much as you like the spending. And you can see this in your children. They will go to Walmart, I want, and then it'll be in some kind of room that never be played with again. It's about the spending rather than the thing. What you got to get is set up your life that generosity and moving the kingdom and helping people is going to be your happy, not the things. And this is one that you have to think about. When you start setting up your life. Most of you are not set up to be generous. 90% of you are not set up to be generous. Most of you are random givers. Most of you, 90% of you, never thought that you would even give anything in this room. That's what you think when you come in. Because you're not thinking, unless my brother gets up here or Jeff or Mark or somebody gets up here and says, we need some help. Then you go, oh, okay, we need to do that. But you never thought of it. Let me say this. There's a story in the Bible about a good Samaritan. And if you're not familiar with church and you're not in church, this is about somebody that helped somebody that was in need. What happened was this person was laying on the side of the road. He had been beat up, he'd been robbed, he's bleeding. And Jesus told the story. He said, now 2 religious people came and they walked around him and went to the other side and never helped. Now, I hope that you in this room, if you see somebody on the side road that's bleeding and beat up, that you'll have at least 5 minutes to stop. You see? But I don't know. Maybe you think it's somebody else's problem. I don't know. Maybe you can't afford to stop. So you have to ask the question, this Good Samaritan, was he a random giver or was he a generous person? See, because something random just happened that he was going to have to do something about. Let me read the story to you. Let me read part of it. He said he went to bandage the wounds and he poured out some oil and some wine on his wounds, and he put the man on a donkey, put a man in his car, if you will, brought him to an inn, brought him down to Motel 6, if you will. Then he took out 2 days' wages. 2 days' wages. He gave it to the innkeeper. He said, take care of him. Take care of him. Look after him. He said, now watch this. And then I'm going to come back. And when I return, I will reimburse you for any more expenses that have happened. A random event met a generous person, and those two things happened together. You see, most of the time we see something random and we want to throw $1 at it or $5 at it. We never think that we should be helping someone. Now, you got to be careful. No, don't go out here and just grab somebody off the street. Be careful. I'm not saying that. But here's the difference. The random giver is not prepared for that. The generous person is prepared for any random thing that could happen that I could share my money and move the kingdom with. He was set up for that. So what I'm saying to you is that we can't drift into it. We can't feel our way into it. We got to be careful that our happy and our enjoyment do not collide. Those two things do not happen together most of the time. But this one is going to happen because it was planned out. Let me tell you about mine real quick. I love going to the beach. Anybody like that part? Like camping? Like golf? Do you lie when you play golf? Do you cheat? My hand's up. Do you think it's all right to cheat at golf? What if you're behind a tree? I say, we're going to play winter rules. That tree's not here in the winter, and we're just moving around. Okay, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that. Okay? So whatever. If you don't count a lot of the holes, I did pretty good. All right. So I like all these things. I like going to the beach. But golf's my enjoyment, beach is my enjoyment, but it's not my happy. So my happy is when I move the kingdom with people like you, when I help kids, when I help children. I'll tell you the two things you give to in just a minute. So here's what's going to happen. Surge is coming, by the way. We're going to the beach in June. The kids are going, youth are going, woo! Okay, we're doing that. And so we're going. And so I decided that Lynn and I, watch this, since Faith is now in the 7th grade, she will be with the kids over here, and Lynn and I will have a beach trip over there. That's how this worked. So we're going down there. We're set up at Garden City. I'd already planned it. I've already paid for my vacation. I got 3 days down there, and that's going to be my enjoyment, Lynn. We're going to go to seafood. We're going to sit on the beach. That's all I'm going to tell you. And then we're going to go, and then we're going to have fun. Okay? We're going to watch a movie. No, we're not. No, we're not. Okay? So here we are at the beach. Now watch this. That's my enjoyment. Now watch this. I get to go hang out with the kids, and I get to speak to the kids on Tuesday night. Now watch this. You say, what is your happy? The kids are my happy. Let me tell you why my kids are happy. Because my money went to Surge in order to get kids there that could not afford to go there. So I get to go in and hang out with my happy. You see how that worked? So now my enjoyment and my happy collided. It's the most beautiful week. You see how that worked? Because before I go to the beach, I want to make sure the kids are taken care of. Before I go to play golf, I want to make sure my marathon is taken care of. That's my happy. You are my happy. My happiest is when I get in the room with my runners, which is our discipleship program. I sit down with them on a monthly basis, and I get in the room, and we do life and we do mission together on how to change the world. There's my happy. So if I have a great golf game, okay, that's my enjoyment. That's not my happy. And you got to know the difference. You got to set your life up to be a generous person. If I have to go to the beach, if I go to the beach and I can't sponsor kids, then I don't go to the beach. That's called generosity. You see, that's how that works. And you have to know that. You got to know. Let me give you this. Let me help you. Do you like my words? Y'all, most of you? Okay. Thank you. I have one taker on that. Does everybody have an outline or something to write down, something with, okay? I want you to pretend that you care, okay? And you're writing things down as I do this, all right? So I'm going to give the order. Watch this. This is the order in which you live, okay? And this is how it works. Okay, and I think I got the worst marker out of the two. All right. And I'm going to do like that, so that makes me smart. Okay. All right, here's the order in which you live. How are we doing? We good? Good. It's nothing magic here. Okay. This is not happy order. Okay? This is not happy order. This is how it works. Over here, though, this right here this is all your play and golf. Okay? How's that? Does it look like your vacation? This is your vacation. This is your happy play. Let me move over here. This is your happy. No, it's not. This is how it works. Most of you spend everything, and you spend to make yourself happy. So your enjoyment and happy get all mixed up. But you realize that once the ride's over, it's over. You know what I'm saying? You know that feeling when you come back from vacation? I don't know if it's like, praise the Lord. I don't know. I don't know what you had. But most of you come back and you're like, oh, I'm sad again because all I had was my vacation. And so most of you spend to be happy, and you spend everything. And then this word save. You remember this word? Everybody tells you to save, right? This is so good. So you try to figure out if you can do anything with that. So you try to save, and then whatever's left over, you give. Is this pretty much it? This is how it works. This is not the order of the Bible, by the way. Because you're never going to find happy here. This is not the order, okay? Let me show you how to flip it. Let me show you what happens. This is what my mama taught me, okay? This is what happened. She said, this is how you live. Listen, you want to be happy? This is what you do. So I've been listening to mama, okay? So here it is. I'm going to give it to you. All right, here we go. Here's how it works. Here's the order in which mama gave me life. So this is what happened. First of all, you set your life up to be generous because two things happen. If you're generous, you're happy. The second thing is you save money. All generous people save money. It takes away the worry. Okay? It's not so much about a budget. I'll show you the percentages. Generous people live off percentage. How do we know this? Because it's stated in the Bible. Okay, so why don't we just try that? Just try the Bible. Since you're here, it might be something we ought to try. So it's stated. So I give first because that's my happy. Kids go to camp. I help kids, help family. I'll tell you what to give to in just a minute. And then I've been able to save. The reason I'm going to the beach with the kids is because I saved for it. Do you see what I'm saying? Some of you don't even know. Do you not know what's coming up? You ever thought about like a year out, like what's coming up? Because money has to be planned. Money has to have a job. If money doesn't have a job, it will own you. Every dollar has a job. It goes to savings, it goes to pay bills, it goes to help people. If my living and my spending override my giving and saving, then I can't go to the beach because the most important thing that makes me happy is moving the kingdom with kids and with people and with you. And I'm not going to sacrifice my happy because of a beach trip. You say, well, I want to go to the beach. Save for it. Think about it. Pay attention to it. These are the things you have to do to get there. Happy is going to be waiting on you. And I'm going to be there. So two things you give to. Write this down. Two things you give to. You ready? What you're grateful for. Grateful. Everybody hear me? What you're grateful for and what you're broken for. Those are the things that happen up here at the top. What I'm grateful for and what I'm broken for. Let me tell you why I give to Marathon, not because I'm the pastor. You know, have any of you ever been, I got time. Oh, I have no time. Okay, we won't do that. Never mind. Y'all still with me? The kids department is going to hate me, but we got to do this. Okay? You got to give the two things. You got to give what you're grateful for and what you're broken for. The reason I give to Marathon is because I am very grateful. I'm grateful for almost 20 years. Next year will be 20 years. I have watched thousands of people come into Marathon. We've started many, many churches. I've watched salvation, thousands of life change. I am so grateful to this place, what has happened. I'm so grateful my dad, may not know this, my dad, he's in the first service. My dad, I went to him, we said, we're going to start a church. I'll never forget this. I said, we're going to start a church. I said, but we don't have any money. Now, we don't know what we're doing. Okay, this is 20 years ago. Nobody knows what they're doing when it comes to church. Nobody knows how to start one or do one. We're just going to start a church. And I said, Dad, we don't have any money. What do you think we ought to do? And here's what my dad said. He said, why don't you take my credit line on my house And would you take $25,000 and start a church? And I said, well, that's really good, but what if we don't make it? Since 80 to 85% of churches never make it. He said, at least we tried. Of course, we paid him back. So you got to give what you're grateful for and what are you broken for. See, I'm broken for kids I'll never meet. I'm broken for your kids. I'm broken for people that I'll never see. I give to Compassion International. You can choose whatever you want to do. It's coming out of my budget. It's up here first before I go to the beach. Compassion International tells me if I can go to the beach or not. How much of whatever whatever it is. I'm broken for those people, and I give to those kids every month. I got 4 children. We should add another one. You know how we know that? Because we'll do that with percentages. Let me tell you, this is the way to live, and I'll show you what Paul said. This is the way to live. Here's the way it works, okay? Straight up, the Bible in the Old Testament says it's 10%. The New Testament does not have a number, okay, because they asked for one, and Paul said, I'm not giving you a number. I want to know what you think it ought to be when it comes to moving the kingdom. So here's how we teach this, okay? There's a 10-10-80 rule. 10% goes to give, 10% to savings, and 80% says this is what I get to do. Don't walk in and say, when you're going to buy a house, what can I afford? That's not what you ask. You have to say, what do I want to pay? You say, well, many of you, you're not even close. I'll show you where most of you are in just a minute. This is how it works. In the New Testament, they asked Paul, give me a number. He says, no, I won't do that. You set aside a percentage of your income every week or monthly, and when I come to town, we won't even have to take up an offering. And we'll be able to help these people. That's what he said. So most of you, the shot would be for you is to move to a 10-10-80 rule. Listen, when you get over here to the 80, I don't care what you do. Go to the beach as many times as you want. Get in many cars as you want. Get in many whatever, ever. Have much enjoyment you want because your happy is already set. Don't let this enjoyment override the happy. Here's where you are. Here's where most of you are. I'm gonna hope this, even this close, okay? 1-1-98. 1-1-98. That's 1% giving, 1% savings, and 98% spending. Close? And this 1% on the giving is when we make a speech. Do we need more money for kids to go to kids camp? Well, sure we do. Does that help? Does that help you? You see what I'm talking about? Here's where most of you find yourself. 0, 0, 1, 10. Any questions? Because you're living off money you don't make. You're living off more than you make. Can I ask a question? What are we doing? Do you know that America does this? Don't bring America into the Bible. We're not the same. This isn't how you live. Your happy will not be found at the beach. It will not be found cheating on a golf course. It won't be found there. It'll be found in people. You're not going to take it with you. So stop holding on to it. Your boat's not dragging behind you on the way to heaven. It's not. And I don't care if you get a boat. Get as many boats as you want. Go get a boat. This right here tells me if I want a boat or a jet ski or whatever I want to do, as long as I don't mess up my happy. You see how that works? People come first. Generosity first. That's what Mama taught me. Thank you, Mama. Because no matter what happens, I can be happy. This is what Paul said to us. All right, y'all stand. I'm running. I don't know who's doing all the talking in here. Somebody said, "Were you loving me?" It wasn't me. It was God. We have to realize that this is an issue because it affects all things. It affects your life. It affects your health. It affects your time. It affects, you say, I love my kids, but you're never with them. This has got to stop. Y'all need to go fight again. Okay? Money will not be, you will not be able to drift into this. This isn't, well, Lord, help me. Yeah, he's helped you. There's a plan. Do the plan, and your life will change. I'm just telling you. Be generous. Change your world. So tell me real quick, just you can talk to me real quick. What are you grateful for? What are you grateful for? Somebody just tell me. Children. Pastor. I just threw that in. It's Girl Scouts. What else you got? What you grateful for? Where'd your money go? Walmart. Huh? Missions. Family. Now listen, you all telling me all this stuff. Is that really what's happening? You need to look at your checkbook and see if that's really what you're doing. You can spit out anything you want. What are you broken for? What are you broken for? Xbox. An honest answer in the room. I love the Xbox. How about a kid? You see what I'm talking about? This is just what you got. Listen, stop. Marathoners, stop the mess. Go fight for this. Be generous. Stop it. And you will be happy. That's all I got. That's all I got today. Okay? All right. We're going to pray, and we got to go because they're probably... You may leave your kids in there just a little longer for you. Okay. Let me pray for you. Father, thank you so much for what you're doing. Thank you to people who have just decided they're going to be generous. They're going to change their life. Thank you for giving us the plan. We love you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.